Hi everyone. I'm Julie Morgan-Lender, and I am doing this video because I asked on this page recently if anyone would like to hear me do readings from the book, and a bunch of people said yes. So thank you to all of you who responded. You know who you are, and I'm only going to read a couple of short passages today, and we'll see how that goes. This is my first live video here, and I just want to get a feeling for how it feels to everybody. So, in case you're not aware, this is The Things We Don't Say, an anthology of chronic illness truths. It was published earlier this year, so June of 2020. Oh boy, it's been a long year, hasn't it? And it's an anthology, which means it's a collection of stories. In this case, it's all nonfiction, all true stories, 50 different stories by 42 different authors from around the world. And I'm going to read two short paragraphs that are from two different stories, but I think that they go really well together, and I'll speak to that in a minute, but first I just wanted to do the reading. So the first one is from Mistreated by Catherine Ernst, who is in Cheltenham, Pennsylvania in the United States. And if you're in the paperback version, this is on page 88. The story starts on page 86, but this particular paragraph is on page 88. And for those of you who want to see, here is Catherine's bio. Every story has the author's bio and a headshot, as well as where they're from. I just feel like it personalizes it more. Hi, welcome. I love seeing new people joining. Okay, so I'm going to, like I said, just read this quick paragraph from page 88. And Catherine wrote, I investigated it further and found it takes someone with autoimmune disorders an average of 5 years and 5 doctors before they receive a diagnosis. Why? Because studies have shown that doctors commonly attribute women's symptoms of physical illness to psychological problems. Women die because of this every year, ranging from women who suffer heart attacks being turned away from emergency rooms without even being tested because doctors assume they're just anxious, to women who die of brain cancer because doctors are quicker to chalk up their neurological symptoms to attention-seeking behavior. Okay, like I said, I'll talk about that in a moment, but first I'm going to flip over to a great piece by Bret Stevenson from Reno, Nevada in the United States called Chronic Pain versus Masculinity, which the story starts on page 202 if you're in the paperback, but I'm reading from page 206, and if you're in the Kindle, you can just do a search for his piece. Page numbers in Kindle obviously have no meaning, or if you're in some other version of the ebook. Okay, so on page 206, I'm going to scroll down to, apologies, I'm sitting here literally reading from the book. I should have paragraphs like copied onto my computer. I don't. I'm doing it the old-fashioned way, reading from a book as if we were in person, as though we could be in person these days. Anyway, so Bret wrote, men do not have to take pain and challenges stoically, especially when they simply cannot. We must let go of all those age-old stereotypes and expectations. We need to not get angry when our friends complain of a sore back after golfing or hiking. It's a poor attempt to commiserate, but an attempt nonetheless. Using a cane or butt cushion is not a sign of weakness, just adaptation. Leaving a group early because you can't sit any longer is not a sign of weakness, nor is pulling the social plug completely some days to just try and get through the day and night. I have little to prove as a man at this point in my life. Rather, I've let go of my old manhood and masculinity dogma, and my new goal is to ride this out gracefully and hopefully with a sense of humor. And I forgot to show you, here's Bret's headshot and bio. So I like reading those two pieces together because they just speak so strongly to all this gender bias that's out there. And that isn't to say that women aren't told to be strong, or men aren't dismissed, or that people who don't present along a gender binary don't experience their own forms of discrimination. It's only to say that we do tend to see these types of discrimination and stereotyping very strongly. I mean, there's a reason for this. So I'm in a chronic pain support group that meets in person, And invariably, new people come to the group and will say that somebody told them it was all in their head. And they say it as if it's unique to them, which I get because I used to think it was unique to me. And we've learned that it isn't. And when I hear it, my thing now is I'll ask, okay, everybody who's had somebody say it was all in their head, and every person in the room will raise their hand, regardless of gender, every time. So it's a really big problem, obviously. I mean, this is not something anyone should ever hear, never mind everybody hearing it, right? And, in Mistreated, she cites research that it takes an average of 5 years and 5 doctors to get diagnosed. It took me so much longer. It took me 11 years to get this thing narrowed down to autoimmune disease, which was already, not even specific. It took about 20 years to figure out what was going on, and many doctors, and I was the one who finally figured it out. And you can read more about my story in the book here. But, it's a really big problem, and I think that while anybody gets dismissed of any gender, it does tend to happen a lot more to women. There's a lot of that age-old stereotype that women are just being dramatic and hysterical, and oh my gosh, our systems are so weak, even though we know that we are so incredibly strong for dealing with this illness inside of ourselves every day, having to deal with pain and fatigue and all sorts of other symptoms. That takes a lot of strength, and everybody is told they must, be strong and take care of others. But I think that men who are socialized in a lot of Western societies, especially where I am in the United States, being told that it's their job to be strong and take care of their house and their family. And when they can't do that, it's as if they're broken and there's something wrong with them, which is a very strange thing, especially now where we no longer have this setup where the man goes off to work and the woman stays home and takes care of the house and child, right? This is a very old-fashioned mindset that we no longer have, and yet that attitude still comes to play here. And I think that it's important to recognize that while you yourself and I myself might be experiencing a very difficult form of this discrimination, that everyone does seem to experience it in a different way, and we do need to address all of them and get it all to stop. And everybody should be treated with respect, and everybody deserves to have their health condition addressed, to get diagnosis and to get treatment plan as much as possible. So I just wanted to bring light to those. I thought that both authors did fantastic jobs of expressing their points, and I hope that you'll read fully what they wrote, because I think that their entire pieces are completely worth reading, as are, of course, all of the pieces in this book. You can go to chronicillnesstruths.com to find more. Right now it's available on Amazon as I record this in mid-September. I am also working on getting it to be available in other places, but because of the pandemic, some of the distribution channels got slowed down. So a setup that should have taken 3 days I'm about a month and a half in, and I'm still waiting to hear back. So that will take a little bit longer. I do expect to have the ebook available in other locations soon, but print will take longer. And I have not created the audiobook yet, but I am planning to do it because I know that a lot of people not only prefer audiobook, but there are a lot of people who rely on the audiobook. So I am going to work on that. And if you have any questions, please post in the comments below, whether you're watching this on Facebook or YouTube. I will check the comments, and I look forward to hearing from you. So have a great day, and I hope that you are as symptom-free or symptom-light or symptom-managing as possible today. Bye. Oh, not bye. Where's the end button? There. See ya.